Hey everyone, Joseph here, and today we are talking about focus. No, we're not talking about focus, but if this lens would focus. Nah, I'm just messing with you. It's actually in manual focus mode, but that's why we're here today. We're here to talk about autofocus lenses and why I think the Rokinon 35mm autofocus f1.4 lens has gotten a bad rap lately. There's 3 or 4 contenders on the market for 35mm f1.4 autofocus lenses for the Sony E-mounts, and the Rokinon lens is by far the cheapest of them all. I wanted to pick it up and run it through the paces and see if I could figure out how to get this lens to work for these kind of talking head videos. You know, they're real popular for makeup application, product review, and I'm sure there's a whole plethora, ton of other applications that you could use it for. But it was important to me to find something that worked well, since I'm kind of a one-man show here. There's nobody over there to really kind of, you know, rack that lens, focus the camera on me. If I move or if I'm showing you guys something, you can just kind of, you know, pretend there's something in my hand that I'm showing you. It would be out of focus, just like my hand is out of focus. So let's jump right in. I'll show you guys some of the tests that I ran and some of the settings that I tweaked to get that Rokinon 35mm autofocus lens to work for me. So this isn't going to be a full product review, or really even a partial product review of the Rokinon lens. There are several other videos already on YouTube, and they do a really good job covering the lens both in photo and video mode. They were very helpful for me in making the decision to pick up this lens. They were probably done by much more qualified and experienced persons, so I'll leave you to those. I'll link those below so that you can check them out. One of the most common positive things that everybody unanimously seems to say about the lens is how sharp it is. There's videos that do comparisons with the Sony and the Zeiss lenses and even the Sigma art lens. So it's a really nice thing to hear about this lens, especially at this price point. One of the most common gripes, however, was the autofocus in continuous mode, at least for the Sony E-mount cameras. The lens seems to have a really hard time tracking its subject or locking onto its subject. So really that's what this video is about, me trying to figure out if we can make that work. So I'm going to swap this out. Right now I have the 2870 Canon L glass on here, and I'm going to swap the lens out, and I'll do a little side by side so you guys can see what the two lenses look like side by side. I know they're not competitors, but at least to kind of give you an idea of what the Canon glass looks like compared to the Rokinon glass. It'll show a little bit of, you know, the difference between the contrast, the exposure, the color rendering. I'll use the same adjustment layer for both clips so that we get a real clear understanding of what that difference is. So let me come pop this on. All right, I think I lost you guys there for a second, but let's see, should be back. So I just mounted up the Rokinon 35mm f1.4 autofocus lens. So you should be able to see some differences. The framing is more or less the same. I had the Canon 28-70 set to 35mm. So more or less the same framing. This will give you a good idea of the difference between the color and saturation and contrast between the two lenses. Just looking at the monitor, I mean, I think it looks incredibly sharp. The color looks very consistent with what's here. I think the real important setting that makes this lens usable in a situation like this is the autofocus tracking speed. I have it set to slow. When I had it set to fast or normal, there was a lot of breathing, not a lot, but enough breathing that it was noticeable and distracting, at least for me, because I could see the background kind of going in and out. Just watching the background, it looks like it's holding pretty steady. There might be a little bit of breathing going on. But considering how much chatter is on the internet right now about this lens and its inability to work in video mode, I think it's doing a pretty good job. So let's grab something here. So this is the lens that I had on set in manual mode before. Let's put this in front of my face, and it should track pretty well. Pop it out. There I am. Stick it way up here. Back to me. Back to the lens. And the reason that it's actually tracking this particular spot is I have the focus spot set to manual, and I have it kind of slightly over to, I guess that's camera right. So yeah, I mean, this is, again, this is the slow tracking or slow autofocus speed in the Sony setup. So, and since I have it on this one little square on my head, it's only going to focus on that until this gets in that range. So not too bad, right? Let's try different settings. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to change the focus tracking. So now I have it set to zone. So the zone is on this half of the frame. Still set to slow autofocus tracking speed, and looks like it's doing a pretty good job. I'll come a little bit closer. Back again. Let me go up and change focus mode again. I'm going to set the autofocus to wide now. Let's see if it still stays more or less on me. So I'm watching the background right now. It's a little hard to see from this distance, but I don't think it's hunting too much. So if I move around, blah, 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 check, check, check. Looks okay. I'm going to go into menu here. And I'm going to change the autofocus tracking to fast. And I'm going to go back to the focus area, and I'm going to select expanded flexible spot. And we'll keep the spot over to the right. Camera right. Should be decent. I mean, it's breathing a little bit. Well, let's throw this lens back up there so you guys can see it again. Nice pretty lens. Back to me. So again, this is in the tracking mode is fast, and it's expanded spot focus area right now, and the little squares should be right on my head more or less. You know, hopefully it's not, I'm not really paying attention to the monitor, so hopefully it's not breathing too bad. I do see it. There it goes. So I should still be in the right spot, but it's hunting a little bit. So I'm going to come up, I'm going to stop the video real quick and change it back to slow mode. Slow. And the autofocus tracking now in slow should be a little bit better. That's what we found during our tests, that the hunting, the breathing is a lot less noticeable when you're in the slow autofocus tracking. And again, I'm in expanded spot focus area. I have the little box more or less right on my head. So if I try to show you anything, I really should try to stick to that area. Again, the lens, try to stick to that same area. So I think that pretty much wraps it up for everybody. You know, I hope that the test that I did today kind of showed that this lens is a great autofocus lens, especially in the right situation and the right scenarios. There's a lot of chatter out there on some of the negative aspects of this lens, but you know, for me, this lens checked all the boxes. It's a fast lens, it's an affordable lens, it's a prime lens, and it's got autofocus. I guess the one issue really would have that could have set it back was the continuous autofocus mode in video. But I think we showed today that with the right settings and the right situation, this lens will be perfect. I have no problems with it. You know, I'm so confident. I'm not even looking at the monitor. I know that it's tracking me and not breathing and hunting for focus. There's been some chatter about, you know, the not so positive things, the focus ring being too easy to turn. I'm not sure why that's an issue. It's really meant to be an autofocus lens, and you know, maybe it's not the right lens for the manual focus crowd. But when it comes to weather sealing, I know that's an issue. I try to keep my lenses pretty clean, so it really wasn't too much of a consideration for me. I don't shoot out in the rain very often, so or ever really. I'm happy with the purchase. I think it's a sharp, quality lens, and really not much more to say about that. So thanks for watching, everybody. If you have any questions, be sure to leave it in the comments below. Hit that thumbs up or thumbs down button, however you feel, and make sure that you subscribe. You know, I'll be putting out future content. So thanks again for coming. Take care, everybody, and we'll talk to you in the next video.